So when we had in Congress, when we had pollsters come in and try to explain why Bill Clinton defied gravity politically, Willie, they would always point to that question. Does he care about people like you? And Bill Clinton always fared better in that question than any Republican. And it always was his strength. People believed that Bill Clinton, despite all of his failings, cared about people like them. Donald Trump, 37% for a president. I mean, that he's minus 20 on the issue of does he care about people like you? Take his name off the ballot, take Biden's name off the ballot, give that number to any pollster, and they will tell you a person that has those numbers is going to lose an election. So he has to work on that. Also, I am really going to be looking forward to seeing what the evangelical number is again 2-3 weeks from now, because as we talk about LGBTQ rights, again, achieving the greatest advance in the history of their movement because of Donald Trump's first election to the Supreme Court. This is not like a side issue for conservatives and evangelicals. This is not like how Gorsuch interprets the Interstate Commerce Act. This is at the very heart, along with abortion, on why evangelicals have sold their political souls to Donald Trump. We will sell our political souls has been the bargain, and this guy will fight for us. He will fight for what we believe in. He will fight for traditional values. He will appoint Supreme Court justices who will be conservative with a big C. And as we come to the end of this week, again, this ruling that Gorsuch authored undercuts every argument Donald Trump has ever made to evangelical voters. You can trust me. I'll put the right person on the Supreme Court to tamp down on what he would call alternative lifestyles and to tamp down on abortion rights. That's just not happened. Donald Trump has failed.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have we talked about it in this show? How many books have been written about evangelicals and their relationship with Donald Trump? And the line we've always heard, Joe, is we elected a president, not a saint. We elected a guy to stand in the breach for us in this culture war as we see times passing us by. Well, he appointed a justice in Judge Gorsuch, who just, as you said, reversed discrimination against LGBTQ people in this country. A lot of people think that's a good advance for this country, moving in the right direction. A lot of people don't. So what will those evangelicals now do? If you don't get that out of Donald Trump and all you're left with is all the other stuff that you say you don't like, but that you like the judges he appoints, and that, again, he stands in the breach for you in the culture war, what are you left with Donald Trump? That will be an interesting number to watch. Also, look at these really, favorable, unfavorable numbers, Joe. Yeah.
Can I say real quick? I'm so sorry. We have a little delay here. Forgive me. Also, the other issue that Donald Trump talks about all the time, Second Amendment rights. Well, how many, what was it, 10 cases that the NRA and gun rights groups wanted to be heard by the Supreme Court? And what happened to those 10 cases? They weren't heard. The Supreme Court wouldn't even listen to them. So all of the things that Donald Trump has been promising when it comes to guns, also not coming to fruition at all. They didn't even get a negative ruling from Donald Trump's conservative Supreme Court. They didn't even get in the front door on guns as well. So if you're thinking I'm voting for Donald Trump because I'm going to get justices that are going to help on Second Amendment rights and make it more expansive and go beyond Heller, and also is going to be a champion for, quote, traditional families, well, those are two of the three main cultural issues where the Supreme Court this week, with two Donald Trump picks, said no, we're not going the way that evangelicals or conservative gun owners want us to go.
Yeah, and Alicia Menendez, if you look inside some of these numbers, we just showed all those crosstabs, the places where Donald Trump is doing so poorly, except for among white people with no college degree. He has a big lead there. But a key number, just a basic gut number, the favorable, unfavorable number that's different from now back to 2016 when Hillary Clinton, like Donald Trump, was upside down on how you felt about them. Joe Biden is +9 on that number. Donald Trump in that Fox poll is -13. So, yes, there are all the policy questions that will be out there as voters go to the booths, but also, how do you feel about the person? Do you like them? And the question put to Fox News people in that poll anyway, the people who responded to that poll, was there were 13 points upside down on Donald Trump and +9 for Joe Biden.
I go back to what Jim said about the fact that President Trump is in sync with his base. Part of the challenge for the president is that his base is very often not in sync with the majority of Americans. So even we talk about evangelicals, just to complicate that question a little bit, remember, his support was really strong among white evangelicals. And so you take just a variety of stories that have happened in the last few weeks and months, whether it is the handling of this global pandemic and the conversation about when states should reopen, how they should reopen. We're talking about a pandemic that hit communities of color even harder. That becomes a more complicated conversation. When you talk about the protests that are happening in the streets right now over police brutality, over racial equality, the president just so out of step with where the national conversation is. And then most recently, you look at this ruling on DACA. This is wildly popular among the vast majority of Americans, including Republicans. And I would imagine that there's strong evangelical support for that as well. So all of these things complicate this picture when you ask, do I like this person? And does this person care about me? All of those are the things that are on voters' minds right now and show no indication of not being on their minds come November.
Yeah, and speaking of the Supreme Court and speaking of DACA, we're going to talk about that in more detail.
Huge decision.
It's a huge decision. Another case that made Donald Trump very angry at the Supreme Court, in part a Supreme Court that he's helped to shape. And he will also talk about the violent imagery that he tweeted, talking about how the Supreme Court had, in effect, put a shotgun, let a shotgun blast go off in the face of conservative Americans. We'll talk about that and much more when Morning Joe returns. Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.